Everyone, welcome back to another episode of the NBL News Podcast. Episode 2 here, HoopsFest has completed, and a bit of a different setup today. We couldn't get the studio booked today. I blame AiDan, but so we're at home, but we should be back in the studio next week. AiDan, Jackson, how you guys doing?
Don't blame me if the audio isn't working. That's not my fault. Back to the old
Oh,
school.
I'm tired. I got in at 1 a.m. last night from Perth, but I really enjoyed my time over there, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it soon.
Yeah, well, let's just jump straight into it. HoopsFest. You were there, Jackson, obviously as a. Do you call yourself Perthonians? What do you say? Perthonians, West
Preferred
Australians?
West Australians.
Okay. Um,
I have no clue what
preferred
word you
is
just came up with then, mate.
Perthonian? No. All right.
Sand
West
gropers is the
West
other one.
West Australian. You were there at the Hoops Fest carnival, and there was a lot going on there. Some big names: Carmelo, Kenny Smith, Kyrgios. What did you think of the whole vibe itself? Was it a success? Should it happen again in Perth? What were your overall thoughts at the Hoops Fest
Wait,
there?
I've got to follow up. Did you rave with the players after the games?
Yeah, did you? And were you? Yeah, were you in that nightclub setting after the games?
Well, I'll start with that. So it's the Thursday night, and we come out of the Jack Jumpers and United press conferences. They're kind of, in a room, and we can't really hear what's going on in the main stadium area. And we come back because somebody has to pick up their stuff, and it's all blacked out, and it's just that massive LED screen of a boombox just going off, and people were in that standing room zone, and I've never seen anything like it. I will say the boombox made a whole lot more sense after I saw that happening. But yeah, as a whole, the event was great. I only got to go down to the NBL games, both at RAC and at HBF Stadium Challenge Stadium. But yeah, that it was great. It was largely a success. Like I was reading Craig O'Donoghue's article after the Thursday night in the West Australian, and there were more people there on the Thursday night than any of the grand final games in Tassie, which is a large success for two interstate teams. And you can say, oh, but Tassie doesn't have that much capacity, but still to me that's a success for that game. And then the Perth Southeast Melbourne game intertwined with the Lynx and Flyers game was a success. And Challenge Stadium was rocking, maybe a bit too loud on the PA system for that double header. And then the main event of the weekend really was that Adelaide Kings game, and the place was going off for that. So yeah, I loved it. I loved being over there, catching up with a whole bunch of people. Um, but one thing for me is that we can't have it straight after the Blitz. We can't have it straight after the Blitz. People are, just you can either go to one or the other. You can't really go to both. And also, there needs to be a bigger WNBL. They can't really just have a preseason tournament a week after their preseason started. And like the Fame Center Development Squad, whole bunch of teams didn't have in. That was a bit of wasted. It felt more like an inclusion thing. So
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, did I
I
break out?
no, all good.
Oh, God damn it.
I agree with the point where it shouldn't be played after the Blitz. I understand they're trying to find that gap at the start of the year to try and get fans going, but I would have liked it more in the December, January, school holidays. I know it was probably still school holidays over in Perth anyway, but I'd like it more like,
It was a week before school
yeah,
holidays.
still I would like, summer school holidays, December, January time, that halfway point in the season, or even a few rounds after the season gets going, kind of like what the AFL does. But um, my only problem with the Hoops Fest is how the NBL talked about, oh, we hit capacity crowds. here at HoopsFest. No, you didn't.
Yeah,
That's just a blatant lie. You
that
didn't
was
sell it
media
out.
spin.
Yeah, don't say that. That's just so incorrect.
They reached the allocation of
Yeah, they
seats.
reached the allocation of seats, yet they could have. You saw RS here, and there's still the back rows that were curtained off. They could have had more there. But Aiden, I'll ask you from watching the game as a fan, though, was it any different from Jackson's experience watching it? What did you think of Hoops Fest?
think as a fan, we didn't get to see like the behind the scenes of how a hoop says, you know, we didn't get to see the access, didn't see the boom box of the. I just think the broadcast didn't. I don't know. They were courtside, but I just felt like I was watching a normal game and didn't really feel like
Anything
anything
different?
different.
Yep.
No, like obviously I'd want to be there, but I don't think you could see a difference on the broadcast. Maybe less seats and maybe not as hostile because it's only one per game. But yeah,
I thought I sound like an old head here, even though I'm not that old, but the Thursday night game, you couldn't hear. They interviewed Camilo Anthony, I think, in the first or second quarter, and you couldn't hear what he was saying because the bloody music was getting played over him, and it was louder than the commentators most of the game. So I don't know if that's just a normal.
Everybody on the media bench, we were sitting right by each other, and this for every single game.
Yeah,
But we had to like scream at the top of our lungs just for people to hear us who were right by
really.
us. Like it wasn't great. Um, the only times where we could properly talk to each other were like during timeouts and like the gaps in between quarters.
yeah, but that's when the
Um,
music should be playing during those breaks. You
yeah.
should
Yeah,
be playing music during a game anyway,
Oh, it was just so
or not
loud.
at that like level through the broadcast.
it was
And
like there was a basketball game going on inside a nightclub. That's what it was like.
and I will say, regular Perth Wildcats games at RAC, like they're loud, but that's because of the crowd. They're not loud because of the PA system. So yeah, that was just turned up way too high. The NBL took control of that. It wasn't a Wildcats crew that was doing it through the week.
Mm.
So
Is NBL, yeah.
it wasn't the regular guys who do it at RAC Arena, and they may have just turned it up a bit too high. Like at John Cain Arena where I can't hear a thing as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I'll finish off with this about Hoops Fest. Should it return to Perth, both of you guys?
absolutely. I don't
But it
think
might have
there's
been
a
in Perth.
spot. I don't
That's
think there's a spot that will have that much support that isn't already like hosting two teams in the city, right? Like
yeah.
you
Yeah.
can put it in Melbourne, but like does Melbourne need it? Probably not. So,
Yeah, they need to revive the NBL Cup vibe. They gotta give them.
Bring back
They
the
can't be known
NBL
for
Cup.
that.
oh God.
Bring back the NBL Cup. I agree.
Perth
No.
Wildcats one and only champs, baby.
John Mooney.
Uh, moving on, instead of us rambling on about each game throughout the week. I think what we've got to do throughout this season is kind of give a one like and one dislike. We probably go overboard with multiple likes throughout the year. Aiden will probably have three dislikes in round four or whatever. But um, I reckon we've got to go for a one like and dislike sort of thing here. From what we saw in the previous round, and I'm going to kick it off here with my like of round one, and it was an easy choice for me. It was Montrezl Harrell. I mean, uh, he did live up to the hype. Obviously, a six man of the year winner not too long ago. One of the most credited NBA players that have come to the NBL. One of the biggest signings that have come to the NBL, and he honestly didn't disappoint. We've obviously seen similar players play like him in the league already, like Cam Oliver, who he came up against, um, and guys like Zion Cheatham, those athletic kind of import bigs. We've seen guys play like him in the NBL before, but he was just on another level. He was
He's got a
unreal.
personality.
He was unreal, yeah, and the personality. Uh, do we have to talk about the warning he got for hyping up the
Is that
crowd? What a
anybody's
world are we living in?
dislike, by the way?
Jesus, no, it's
That's
not.
dark. Yeah,
But it
somewhere.
is one for sure.
It should be.
Horrendous. But like haven't seen really anything like that before. And I what another little like about that was the battle between him and Cam Oliver. Both kind of similar players, and just those two guys going at it was just so fun to watch. Because I remember Cam Oliver's probably been one of the most fun players I've ever watched, most entertaining players, I should say, I've watched in the NBL the last few years.
Yep.
And to see him back in the league, first game back, go against a guy like Montrezl Harrell, it was unbelievable to watch. So fun to watch. And it wasn't just how Harold played. He was a bit slow getting up court at some stages, and that's fair enough. He's coming off a year injury, but his personality out there and just the energy he brought to the game, he changed the way Adelaide played. And gee, I really hope he stays this season because Adelaide could really make some noise if he stays and they somehow keep Jarrell Martin, those three imports all together. Ooh, they could they could break the streak. I don't. It's round one. I
Oh
can't believe I'm
boy. Oh
saying that.
no.
I've
Oh
already jinxed
no.
it. It's round one. I've jinxed it. I'm sorry,
Now, when
but
you say streak, you mean final
yeah,
streak or
final
winning
streak.
a final? Okay.
Final streak. I've already jinxed it. I'm sorry, Adelaide fans, but I did really like Montrezl Harrell. 13 and 13 for him. I think it was plus 26, was he, or plus 20? He was in the plus 20s. You know, plus
That
minus.
game was so
Doesn't
weird
really
for
matter.
plus minus. Like
Yeah,
Isaiah
or
Leafa was minus 30 and
yeah, it
Humphreys
was
was
all over the
minus
place.
33. So, you
Yeah,
can't take a lot of that,
yeah, exactly. But
correct?
He won't be coming
But
off the bench this week, I can tell you that.
Montrezl Harrell, I don't know. Because
nah,
I,
I,
I
I
don't
think
know
he's,
if we can see a world where Harrell and Humphreys plays together. I don't think we saw that during the game, and I don't know if they will work together.
You've
So
got to find a way, work
yeah,
on it.
I don't know. Humphreys was a bit disappointing, but we know how good Humphreys is. That's one's game. He was in foul trouble. But Harrell, I just want to see more players like that come to the NBL. But yeah, he's just so fun to watch, and he's just a perfect player for the NBL. Um, and yeah, I really hope he stays this season. Um, any of you guys want to go with your like Jackson Aiden? Who wants to go first here?
Jackson go first, since he's had a big week.
yeah. So there's a lot to like about the week, but particularly for me, it's in that Perth Southeast Melbourne game. And, Pinder hit four threes, Bryce hit eight. But the player that really stood out to me in that game, because we kind of know what they're going to bring, is Ben Henschel, a guy who really sat on the bench last year and, barely stepped on the court, except for that game against Southeast Melbourne in round two, I want to say, where
No,
he
round one,
had
I reckon.
round one where he had like 24 points in not a lot of time. But this was really exciting to see because he had a great season in Otago. He went and represented that emerging Boomers squad in Japan. And he had a great game, 10 points, 7 assists in under 20 minutes. But the thing that really stood out to me was his defense, and Perth run this heavy switching defense, and there would be times last year where he would just be blown by, but this was probably his best defensive game he's probably ever played, at least in NBL. So that was really exciting to see. And also just him fitting into that backup guard, point guard, combo guard spot is where he should be for the remainder of the season. I don't see him starting, but that is a very nice role for him.
No, I
Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I hope he gets more of that ball handling duty as well. I did ask him that at the Blitz, um, what it's like to get more of the ball, and he's happy to play whatever role it is for Perth, but hopefully John really gives him more minutes throughout the year compared to last year. But that's also with Pepper. Pepper didn't get many minutes either that game, which was disappointing because he's a guy that can easily give you 25 minutes in the league on any team. So. It'll be interesting to see how really figures out that rotation later in the year. But they've got some pieces this year and they look good. Aiden?
Dilla or Hawks, they got an 8-man rotation already within the
Yep.
first game. Like that's unheard of, I reckon, for the first game. They've kind of got an 8-man rotation
They
they've
look
stuck
settled
with it.
already.
And they didn't miss a beat. Like I know Cairns were depleted, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And
Yeah.
the Hawks just did what they did back in last year. Darius Days, 20 points on debut. I'm sorry, and 12 rebounds, like double double. That's good for him.
Zero turnovers as
But the
well.
yeah, exactly. For a big, that's really unheard of for an import. Then the bench like Will Hickey, Hong Jong Lee, Ulrich, they just I think they had 25 between them on the bench, which is probably more than half the Cairns team, as an individual.
Pretty much
But yeah, they just looked really well founded already. Like, with an 8-man rotation, that's scary to see what they've got
in round one,
coming forward. Yeah.
100%. And with your point on Darius Days, that's his first FIBA game as well.
Yes.
First official FIBA game, I should say,
Yeah.
because he's only played G League and NBA. So, and the other thing, he's 24. So, whew, once he
He
gets
could be in the
going,
NBA next year. Yeah.
I think he will be. The way, like, he's so good. He's so good, and what a find for. Look, he could honestly win the MVP this year.
Hmm.
He's definitely in that conversation. I mean, lots of people have him in the first team. So, man,
Thank you,
once he
Shanghai,
gets
for bringing him down. That's
well,
all.
once we get going throughout the year, I think he's got to be so good, so good, and it's got to be the reason Hawks got to be good this year. Um, don't have any other major like, do we? Before I move on to the dislikes.
I mean, New Zealand showed a few promising signs. As
Yeah,
I like.
yeah,
Yeah, Menenga was very, very good for them in
mm,
that game.
yeah.
But also, I have a dislike on the Breakers for giving up that lead. Like, that
I
was
know,
just
joke,
ridiculous.
joke. They did it in the Blitz too. I'm pretty sure against Perth.
Yeah.
On Perth,
But at
someone.
least they held on to win against Brisbane.
Yeah, jeez, yeah. That would have been
Which we'll
devastating.
talk about it later.
Um, my dislike was actually the Brisbane Bullets. It's funny you talk about it. My dislike was the Brisbane Bullets. People had a lot of hype about them going into the season for obvious
Growing in.
reasons. Going into the season for obvious reasons. So 5-1 at the Blitz. We're really good in preseason. Had great depth, and that was without guys like McDaniel and Prather playing. Um, and even some people had Tyrell Harrison in their all NBL first team, which was absolutely mind blowing
I am
to me.
so glad I didn't have him in my Supercoach team in the end, but he was in there for a long time.
Yeah, he was Blitz MVP, but I just didn't understand the hype for him. Because it was preseason. Not many of the bigs were giving him too much focus, but as soon as the Breakers, I honestly thought going in this game, Brisbane would win easily because Breakers
Well, I
had
think we all thought that. I think we
no
just didn't.
Freddie. They had no true center in there, and I thought, oh, Harrison and Rocker's got to dominate. Total opposite there. They just were a shell themselves. Meninga was a beast that game and outplayed him by far. And even guys like Bolden, he was all right. Bolden was all right off the bench. No, did he start Bolden? No, he was
Yeah, he
off the
started.
bench.
No,
Or
he
did he
started.
start? He
I
started.
think.
No,
That's
he
right.
started with
Yeah, he
Meninga.
started.
Meninga, yeah, and Max Starling started. When I saw that starting five, I'm like, geez, this might be a blowout. But the Breakers just were unreal, and that's a bad way to start the season for Brisbane. After
Well, it's
such great form,
51 to
so,
34 at halftime.
yeah,
That's how
exactly.
bad that game was. Like,
34 points at halftime. And this was my worry. I just don't like Brisbane's imports. Like, Bateman's a solid guy.
no,
I
I wouldn't
thought
say that though, because Bateman only had 3 points. Like,
Yeah, I thought he going into this game, sorry, I
oh
thought
yeah,
he'd be a solid import. Didn't show anything that game. Cook was all right for Brisbane that game, but I don't have a
I'd say he was
I'm not a
solid
big.
because he 5 from 9 from 3. Like
I
he
thought
showed
he
up
was
what
all
he was
right that
known
game.
for. He
Probably the
showed
best
what.
player for them that
Yeah,
game. But then
uh,
Casey Prather, when they re-signed him, this is what we thought. Like, what has he got to bring? I mean, maybe he's a decent third import guy off the bench, but a team like Brisbane, um, like I just like he's not going to do much this season. Some
what Dan
people,
Liddell.
another guy that had a lot of hype for was Prather, and I just don't see it. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of the imports. Obviously, they've still got Josh Bannon to come in, who is arguably their best local player on this team. And that'll be interesting to see how him and Harrison work together in the front court. But yeah, preseason, I think we already knew it, but it means absolutely nothing, and it should always mean absolutely nothing because yeah, that is not a great start from the Bullets. Even though they did come back, uh, the people that were hyped up, Prather, Harrison, their
Big Dell,
imports, yeah, didn't show up to play, and
he's back.
I will say
yeah,
Adele barely got the ball.
mm,
He barely got the ball. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
he didn't play well. I'm just saying like he didn't have the opportunities to play
Oh yeah,
well.
do you have the stats right in front of you there, Aaron?
yeah.
You're looking
Bateman
at
had 5 shots.
what?
So Cook
How many?
was the one that
Who shot the most there?
Cook was 17, 8 from 17 with 25. So I mean, that's not a bad clip, but when you're having 17
He's not
shots,
a guy that's your should be your go-to scorer.
no,
Like
but no
he's
one else
no,
had more than 10 shots, I reckon. I'm
he's
going for
not.
it right here.
That's what I mean. Like a guy like him should not be your go-to scorer in the NBL. He's not going to win you games.
Well, yeah, your second top scorer in that game is Casey Profile off the bench. And then guess who's third? Big old
Adele.
Toppy. Nah, Toy's
Sorry.
third.
Oh, he
Smith Toda, 10
Oh,
points.
oh boy.
But
Oh
I
boy.
mean, I feel like, no, I'm not going to diss Toy here because I think
I'm a
Toy
big
has
fan of
played
Toy,
okay. I think
but
he's got a good veteran. He can shoot the ball as
when
he sees
Smith
it.
Milner's your third best player, best
Well,
scorer
that's
in
what I
that
mean.
game.
Like when Banner's not playing, I think Toy has to be the, I don't know, your scorer, but
Yeah,
like he's got to, someone's
that's
got to
not. You're not going to
score.
win games like that.
No.
Jackson, dislike.
Yep, my dislike for this week is also from that Perth Southeast Melbourne game, and it's Nathan Sobey.
Mm.
Uh, just talking with people after that game and throughout the weekend was like, Sobey can't be the number one option on this team. There's no way that Southeast Melbourne are going to win games if he's just going to be playing ISO ball and, picking fights that he can't win. Like, we all saw the stuff that happened with Pinder and, he also flopped a fair bit in that game, I will say.
Oh, the Perth
Wasn't
bus is
called
coming
for
out,
it
Aiden.
though. No, I'm not talking about when Pinder bumped him off ball. I'm talking about later in the game. There was another incident. He probably wasn't even on camera, but he just fell to the ground.
Mm.
But yeah, like also like talking to people like Sobey isn't considered a winner. Like
True.
there's
The
too
whole
much
to
of the ball going through him, and they needed more Foxwell. They needed more. Ben Air didn't play, and you
yeah,
could have
I
gone
think
to
he's
him
carrying
for
an
a
injury
bit
though.
as that shot creator.
that's what I heard too.
So yeah, like just a few guys that could have played a bit more, and like Sobey's effectively their backup point guard on this team, even though he's starting alongside Walton Jr. So they need to get the ball out of his hands a bit more, let him run off ball. But
Make
yeah, I just didn't
Wisecamp your
like what I
first
saw from
option
him.
or Walton your first option. Sobey doesn't have to be the first option on this Phoenix team.
Well, it's
For
not panic stations yet, I would say. It's
no,
just
no, it's round
teething,
one.
Yeah.
teething issues with the team because they're all,
That's
what,
fine. It's a whole
eight
new
new players?
starting five. None of
Yeah, I was
those
saying,
guys were on the Phoenix in their starting five. Their starting five this season. None of those
yeah.
guys were on their roster last season. So it's a
And
whole new
most
team.
of them, yeah. Give
So
them 3 weeks, I
I
reckon.
understand you had a few preseason games as well, but it's round one. But I agree with the dislike. Sobey's got to be a bit better. I agree he's not a winner. The whole time at Brisbane, he didn't make finals. So
Did he not?
no, Brisbane didn't make
No.
finals the whole time he was there.
They got
You
close that
sure?
Vigor year. Yeah,
100%.
they,
He
I
joined the
thought,
year after they
was
made it.
he? Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
They played Perth in their 19
2019,
finals.
18, 19, yeah. He
Yeah.
look,
joined 1920
the MVP year he had, it was good, but didn't, because everyone else on that team that delivered. So
when he was second, third,
I
second.
think that was
One of
The
that
them.
Vigor year?
the COVID year 21.
Yeah,
Bryce
the
was first. Sobey
NBL
was
Cup year.
second. Who was third?
Harvey, Tyler Harvey.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Harvey's first year. That's right. No, yeah, that
Yeah.
was a weird year.
And Homicide said he should win.
Sobey or Harvey.
Harvey.
Yeah. No.
May he rest in peace. But yes.
Um,
Um,
Aiden, your dislike.
well, I'm with you with Brisbane. You can't be giving up. Like they started so crap. Like they were. I don't know. Like I didn't see the whole game, but when I was flicking through the channels, I'm like, how are you 20 points down to a New Zealand team without a big man that you had Harrison and Rocco that could probably dominate both um Menenga and Peter Bolton because they're long. But like Bateman was a huge disappointment. 3 points. Dingendale, 8. They were both the informed players going into that team for Brisbane, and they just didn't show up.
100%. Yeah, both had the same dislike. Um,
Yeah, sorry, but I thought
no,
they just
that's fine. Well, well, yeah, I agree. As I said before, with Brisbane, they got bad start, but hey, it's round one. It's round one.
yeah.
That's
Things can be
that's the nature of
improved.
it. 100%,
The
as we've
honorable
seen
mention would
multiple
be
times.
Cairns rotations. They were Dak only had 13 minutes, which I was surprised about.
Yeah,
Jono Antonio 30 minutes. I know they don't have any guards,
they had
but
a
like
few injuries. Yeah, it's fair enough.
Dylan Starr should play over more than 2 minutes. I feel like I know he's not the best player, but he probably could have offered him a bit more.
Yeah,
But
Jackson, did you have any other dislike as well? Or?
Oh, like Brisbane, but like
Yeah,
that, like they're
yeah,
oh, like Roth, and we'll get to that.
yeah.
But Roth, both in his pre-game interview with Joe Healy and his post-match press conference, like,
We'll get
come
into
on,
that.
man, you got to give
I
us
know that's
more.
you. I know
Got
that's
to
you.
at least give us some eye contact.
Um, all right, let's move on to hot or not, a hot take or not of the week. Anyone want to go first, or you got to
not
let
gonna
me
be
go?
hot. You can say it's not. So I'll go first.
You go.
One of the players will get ejected this week. I don't know who, but someone will get ejected from a player once.
That's a hot take. Ejections are pretty rare, in my opinion, so that's pretty hot. Um, I know Freddie got ejected in the
I'm not saying
Blitz,
Freddie. I'm just saying it could be someone.
but they're
Sobe could be
pretty
doing it if he
rare.
passes them
How many
prayers.
happened last season, especially with players?
Well,
Gosh,
I know Michael
Probably under
ejected,
five.
but
like player ejections. I mean, Mike Kelly got ejected, but like that's all that
yeah.
I can really think of. Oh no, Baines and Lat Mayen.
Yeah, but that
I just remembered that.
That's
Yeah.
right, two in one game. Um, they're very
yeah, I
rare
don't
to
think,
come by. So I'm saying hot on that take. I'm sure you
okay.
probably agree, Jackson.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go with mine. I'll go with mine. Um, again, it's been one game, but I have liked this guy in preseason as well. Um, and I've seen a few people have said it already, but I think Alex Tui will be a first round draft pick in 2025.
I'm going hot for now because they didn't play Galloway. They didn't like they're I don't know. It's good. I like it.
Jackson
I'm going not because from talking to people, he's considered a first round draft pick.
already.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I mean, there's
that's a
that, but like it is, if
Jackson's
you
going to
were
have to
if you
bid.
were saying it before the Blitz, yeah.
yeah.
But
Right now, after the blitz
don't
and
know.
after that game, his
Jackson,
shooting
is it
form.
mid? Is it there? Is it in the middle? Is it not hot? But it's not.
It's shaking in between.
You know what? We can do that. Hot shaking, not.
Um, I just really like how he's improved his shooting form. Shout out to Jay Law. Is that his name? Jordan Lawley,
Yes,
Yep.
one of the best skills trainers in the NBA in the
he's got
basketball
bigger
world.
too. Tui, as in like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Strength
care.
wise,
People can
better
see me.
shooting
He looks
form.
bigger on his shoulders. Like he looks
Yeah,
muscular.
he looks ready for the NBA. Jackson,
Yeah.
what's your take?
Or
There will be
statement.
a 30-point win/loss this week.
Ooh, that's hot. I like that.
Let me just check the games again. I
South East
should have.
Melbourne are playing New Zealand, and South if they're going to
In
get
New
a
Zealand.
yeah, but I'm saying, well, I don't know. New Zealand could beat South East, but if Phoenix play like they did
I
against
think
Adelaide
that's
in the
hot.
Blitz against New
I think
Zealand, I
that's
like it.
hot. I still think 30-point wins are hard to come by in the NBL. Yes, we saw it last week.
We should have had it we should have had it this week, but you know,
But
We were
Brisbane pulled
close.
on
in the
almost the
NBL,
comeback.
the NBL is such a tight league, and I know how bad Cairns are at the moment. But yeah,
I'm not keeping my eye on that Cairns game.
I was gonna say LA Cavs. I think that's gonna be the
My
most low
my
scoring
mine
basketball game.
is the
So what are you
the one
saying?
for me is
Illawarra, Brisbane?
Illawarra Brisbane.
I
Ooh, I
still don't
like
think they'll
that.
get to 30 though.
Yeah,
Oh,
They're
but
that's
very
you
low
tall.
in
got
the NBL.
you gotta put the fishing rod out there, see if anything catches. So
Get any bait.
let's go.
We got fishing quotes. I love this. This is a great podcast already. Uh,
Aiden, it is time for your segment, my friend.
all right.
Your passport watch. Is Freddie still on the passport watch? I know he didn't play, but
Look, he
there
might.
is a new
He's.
signing. We'll get. Actually, sorry, I forgot to mention the other news. Before,
We're gonna go
sorry,
for the news
sorry
first.
to ruin your segment,
No, that's fine.
Aiden. I'm trying
Put
to
it
tease you,
through.
mate. I'm sorry, but the other news I wanted to mention: Taco Fall today. The big fella. Some of the breakers as a I don't
It's
know,
a
on a
loan.
10-day contract pretty much just for the NBA games. Breakers announced another NBA game, which is a stupid idea. I don't know why they're playing three NBA games. Literally no
Yeah, I know
point.
why. Trenton Flower. Wait, was he? No, he's Clippers. Never mind. Wrong team.
Clippers, no.
Yeah, wrong team. My bad.
76ers, they sort of play Jazz, 76ers, and Thunder. I just see no point in these games at the moment. If they happen before the preseason, fair enough. But when you already start your season, you got to fly over there. They've got to be so fatigued, and it's got to ruin their season coming back. And it's just, I mean, some of their games last year, Breakers Blazers game last year, wasn't even streamed anywhere. You couldn't watch it. It wasn't even on League Pass.
Yeah.
So, what's the point of these games? We can't even watch them here. So, they're kind of pointless to me. But either way, bit of attention. Taco Fall, the big fella, is going to be playing with the Breakers. Should he replace Freddie before we get into your passport watch, Aaron?
Is this an early yes or no? Jeez.
It is.
Uh, I think yeah. I reckon he should. Like just for the publicity stuff. Like I feel like they need bums in seats. New Zealand don't have anyone that will put bums in seats. Like it's only like that. Oh, I'm in Parkland, yeah, but
No, I agree.
imagine
Jackson, what do you?
Taco and against Rocco. Like imagine that matchup. Just put them next to each other. I want to see it.
Well, with all the small bigs, he might
Uh,
dominate Taco.
He will
As
get
much
double
as I
double.
would love to see Taco Fall versus Kelly LePepe,
Oh,
no,
He's exactly a foot taller as well.
I know, but I reckon he wouldn't be able to move Kelly.
Yeah,
But
Kelly
no,
would move him.
not for me. I
yeah.
just feel like
Fun publicity for three games.
there's some better bigs out there, and you know if they were going to replace Freddie, I reckon they needed more of a power forward than a
Yeah.
Nah.
center.
Sean, what is it?
Derek
Big Blue
Carden,
from
bring him back
Brisbane.
already. And quickly as well, Roman Swalipa looks likely to sign in Cairns. Is that a good fit?
I don't think that's true though. I'm hearing
No,
Adelaide still. I'm hearing Adelaide
really.
still. I'm hearing the
Okay,
hot now. It's still
Aiden's
Adelaide.
sources and Aiden bomb.
This is
Woj is
not even Adelaide
retired.
sources. This is just
The ga-
me
the
thinking
Woj is
Adelaide's in the
retired now,
box
so
seat.
that the gap is there for you to take his crown. You're giving him the bomb, Roman at
I'm
Adelaide.
giving him to Adelaide. Yeah. Well, you were in the Gold Coast. Did you watch his game?
No, it was after. It was after I left.
Okay.
But
I was just saying because what did Adelaide play show up to that? I'm just saying.
well, he was pictured in the next. They did a Next Stars photo shoot, and he was there.
Tui wasn't
Exactly.
there in that
Yeah,
photo shoot either.
Don't know.
So
Don't
he's
know
going
what
to
the
Sydney is
NBL's
what we're
doing.
hearing. Who is going to be a local?
I
And
think.
then, yeah.
What do you reckon, Nat Jackson? Is he a good fit at Cairns, or should he go somewhere else?
I reckon that is probably the best spot for him in terms of minutes.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'd say yes.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, in terms of
Adelaide,
fit, yes.
Adelaide, I don't feel like would be a great spot for him. And
Yep.
Illawarra, there's too many small forward, power forwards there to
Yeah.
begin with. So no. So
Cairns is
Cairns
best
for
fit.
me.
Well, I'll touch on this quickly. I don't think he'll go Illawarra right now because it's the 8-man rotation I expect. Because
100%.
this
Yeah.
is
So
tough
it's
one.
really Cairns or Adelaide. Cairns is just so perfect for him, though.
Yeah.
Aiden, sorry to tease you before, but your passport watch now could be one of the imports that we just talked about. Who knows?
No, it's not Freddie. Freddie's
Okay.
even though New Zealand looks better without him playing, but no, he's on to watch because he didn't play. I can't give him.
Okay.
I
Fair
could give
enough.
him stick, but big old Pedro Bradshaw,
Ugh.
8
Yep.
points, 7 rebounds, but 2 from 13 from the field. So he shot 1 from 7 from
Oof.
2, and then 1 from 6 from deep. Like I don't, and then you look. He's
Ideal
free for his,
debut.
but
Felix
for
von
his,
Hoff type of debut, isn't it?
that's a harsh with Felix. That's not even.
Sorry.
That's like a prime Dangadale or Hawk days, game. But Pedro, you can't be getting the team together after the game and trying to talk to them and trying to make your case, you know? Get
Yeah,
into better positions or pass the ball. Stop shooting the rock when you can't shoot.
yeah,
Let Rob
I
Edwards
agree. Seems
cook
like a
because
good
Rob
leader, but yeah, he's not a good player.
he might
That's
be
what
a
I
better
should sign
defender,
Roman.
but
That's what I should sign Roman.
that's
He'd
what I
be
mean. Start Roman, have Pedro off the bench,
yeah,
and I'd be okay with that.
roll with it. See what happens.
Yeah.
Um, you reckon Pedro will stay next week, or will Freddie be back on the watch?
Oh, we'll find out because
We'll
Freddie is
find
back
out.
this
I'm
week.
excited. I like this passport watch. I like this thing. It's good stuff. Jackson,
Well, back this yeah.
your no comment. You finally got one this week. You didn't have one last week, but your first one of the round. I think we already discussed it before. Uh, we'll play the video now.
We'll get to the group and tonight in just a moment, but I really want to ask about the championship series and what kind of emotions are going through your mind now being here for the rematch tonight.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but we don't talk about that anymore, so I'm not going to go down that alley.
Okay, fair enough. What about tonight? You've talked a lot this week about injuries and the schedule coming into this game. How have you tried to spin that for the guys and sort of feed their confidence coming into the game?
Well, we haven't really spun anything other than the fact that we played these 5 games in 8 days, and we're ready to go for tonight.
How is the group feeling? What's the focus? Knowing, Melbourne United, they're a little bit different, but a lot of their core is very similar. What's the focus for the team?
For us, just going through our process and do what we do, and the results will be the results, and we're on to the next thing.
Jack McVeigh, the big one missing from your group last season, obviously getting an amazing opportunity over there with Houston. Who do you look to fill that void, not only from an offensive point of view, but from a leadership and energy point of view as well?
Well, we're not going to be able to fill that void. We're just going to have the next man up, and there'll be some great opportunities for some guys.
Coming up against someone like Marcus Lee as well, a little bit of friendly fire out there with him tonight?
Well, I'm happy to see him, and he's been a wonderful guy for us last year, and it'll be fun to play against him.
Final word for the boys in the locker room before you head out on the court?
I'll keep that internal.
Good luck for it.
Right, so this is a bit of a two-parter, but I want to focus on the video that was just played. So, as you saw, Scott Roth was having a pre-game interview with the sensational Joe Healy before their championship series rematch against Melbourne United. And I don't care how much you traveled. I don't care how much you care or not care, but please just look her in the eye, man. He's just looking directly to not even into the camera, just not even paying attention to what she's saying, and then he doesn't even respond properly to any of her questions. Like the first one was about like, oh, good to have, I think it was season opener or championship series, and um he just said, oh, we're not looking into the past right now, blah blah blah. And it was just like a few word answers, and then we got into the post-game press conference, and feel free to put that in or not. I really don't mind, but because it's not worth watching. But just one word answers, victim blaming a bit, oh, I had to do all this travel. We had to play 3 games in 3 days. We had to do all this stuff. We were in the Gold Coast and we had to go up to Singapore and in Perth. And it's like, dude, like, I get it, but like, you're there to win games. Just embrace the circumstances and, just try to,
Respond to the
actually be
media.
positive about something and respond to media, because you're not just talking to the media, you're talking to your fans, you're talking to your supporters, you're talking to your players as well. And if that's a mentality that you're having, it's not a great one to have. So that's my no comment. Also, it fits the topic of the segment really well, because you could have really just said no comment for a few of those answers.
Pretty much.
Because that's effectively what they were.
To that, AiDan, we say turn it up. Turn it
No,
up, Scott Roth.
I reckon
No, that wrong show.
Oh, sorry.
I think Gazy owns the copyright on that.
no.
We may be in some legal trouble.
No.
Talk about Gazy in legal
Alright.
trouble. How about his 2K? Sorry. Moving on.
71?
No, too many cigars for Scott Roth there, I reckon. And then,
I
but
don't
like
think he had any.
they didn't even play that bad in
Probably
my
why.
opinion.
Yeah.
They didn't play like they were okay.
Yeah.
They the last quarter, they were good. They were competitive. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Tassie might win this one. They might
Yeah.
sneak and upset, but he
It
acted like
was
they lost by
like 2 shots at half time. Like there wasn't anything in it.
Yeah.
he was like what Adam Ford would be if they lost by 25. That's what I felt watching that press. Like they would lost by
Yeah.
25, but they
Exactly.
only lost by 10.
Oh well. Moving on. They'll come good. It's got off Tassie. They get a pass. They've won a championship. They've been successful. They
They
get
get a
a
one
pass.
week pass. Everyone gets a 1 week pass, and then after this, well, hell.
Uh, Bit of fun now. My eBay find of the week. I'm gonna see if I can share screen here with you boys, um, and I'll show it on video as well. But I'll try and describe it as best for the audio listeners out there as well. But have a look at this find of the week. Now, before you
Wait,
get to the
wait,
player, you've probably
yeah.
already seen the player, but number 10 Sydney Kings back in 2014, 13, around there, that I believe. It's a reversible training shirt. And I saw it, I'm like, oh, this must be a big time player or something, like a former import they must have sold in stores. Had a look in the back. Agent 97 before he was Agent 97. Jared Weeks. Who in their goddamn mind puts up a Sydney Kings number 10 Jared Weeks training singlet for $25 on eBay? This has to be Jared Weeks himself, because who
No, that
who
can't
else
be.
who else would have their hands? This is when I think
It's
he
a
was
Shay.
a
It's from
player.
it's
Either
someone called
Shay Ely.
Shay Ely. It's Shay Ely. It's Shay Ely. Definitely 100%.
Like, who else would have their hands on this? Like, maybe a mate of Weeksy or something, because this is an outrageous find. If anyone buys this and rocks up to Kudos Bank Arena or a Tassie Jack Jumpers game, since he's at Tassie now, wearing this, I give kudos to you.
Well, it says condition pre-owned,
His
so
time.
someone must have worn it before.
But
I don't know.
it's yeah, this is from 2014, I think it was.
Yeah.
Pre-owned as well, by
Oh.
the way. Condition is pre-owned. So this, how do you get your hands?
Does
on-
Mighty
Look at that
Might still
sponsor.
exist?
Yeah. Surely.
Does it? I don't know.
I
When
don't know.
And One used to make jerseys. Gee
Oh, I
whiz,
can see
what a
why
time.
Xavier Cooks now
This-
chose number 10 because of Jared Weeks. It's 100%. You know what? We're going to retire Jared Weeks' number 10 jersey. Forget the 97. We're retiring number 10.
I love
Hey,
it.
hey,
though.
wait. I just
Perth are
realized
going to
Cooks.
retire 0 for Bryce Cotton, not 11.
Exactly. No, but Cooks had 5 letters in his last name, so as it does Weeks. It's all just,
All right. Now this is just the bounce. Now you just do numerology by Cam Mooney.
Yeah, I'm
This is
just.
the bounce.
Calculus.
The NBL's version of the bounce.
And then Jared's got 6, Xavier's got 6. I mean, like,
Um,
yeah,
uh,
that's up, doesn't it? Yeah, that's up.
we got to get sued in a minute. Tips for the week. Can we move on, please? Finishing
Yes.
off with the tips. Throwdown on Thursday. Phoenix home game for once. Normally the throwdown starts with Melbourne home game, but Phoenix, Melbourne, John Cain Arena. This could really go either way, in my opinion. I'm going to
Grand
start off
final
by.
Eve.
I'm going to say the Phoenix. I put them above the Melbourne. I put above the Melbourne United. We're not allowed to say the Melbourne United. Melbourne United. I put them above them this season on the ladder. So I think Phoenix will win this game. I think they're a better team at the moment, despite their
I
loss.
think they'll want to bounce back. I think Phoenix want to bounce back against Perth and they'll just do it. That's not bias. That's just me thinking they will want to bounce back after a terrible showing against Perth.
I got United. I just feel like in a defense battle, like United are going to score more than 100 points on this team, and Southeast Melbourne won't score above 90. So, yeah, I've got United.
Fair enough. Hawks, Brisbane.
Hawks by 20.
Hawks.
Perth, Sydney in Perth. This will be a fun game. Very fun game. Game of the round, for sure.
Did Sydney go home?
I don't think they will.
No.
I don't see why they
No,
would.
Gorge was talking in his press conference, so they're not going home.
Okay,
They're
so I'm
staying there
listening.
for 5 days. I think they flew in the Saturday, so they're staying there until Friday, and then they play Perth. So, yeah.
I'm gonna go
I'm gonna go
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yep, same here.
Sorry, Jess.
Cairns Adelaide in Cairns. Harold is going to have a feast and maybe drop a 2020 bomb against Cairns here. I'm going to go Adelaide.
Cairns. I can Adelaide. Cairns have that one. I wish it would
Yeah.
be.
Adelaide, yeah,
Adelaide.
pretty obvious.
I've got Adelaide.
Tassie and Melbourne again. This time in Tassie, though.
8 o'clock.
Craig Sword is back. Magnay is apparently fine and will play.
Hmm.
Fine. I don't know if he's concussed or not. I'll go Tassie because they're going to unveil the banner in front of their fans in the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
I'm going to go Tassie. Got to get one back against them.
So we're
I've
saying
got United. I've got
United
United
again.
going 3-0.
Wow, look at this United fan over here.
I know, right?
I'm surprised. Another rivalry game, Sydney Illawarra. Another just a great round. I'm excited for this round. Sydney Illawarra in Sydney. Coming back from Perth, Sydney. Is this Hawks only game? No, they play Brisbane as well.
Hawks. The Swans are going to win the premiership and they're going to annoy the Kings and not having anyone in their crowd. The Hawks.
I've
go
got
with
Sydney.
Yeah, I'll go with
just
Jackson's
purely
game.
on paper.
Yeah, Sydney. I think Sydney will be fun though.
Yes.
And
I reckon this could be game of the round Hawks Sydney. I reckon that's more game of the round than Sydney.
Perth, Sydney. Whatever involves Sydney is game of the round.
Exactly. Pretty much.
New Zealand Phoenix is the final game of the round here. Phoenix.
I've got Southeast Melbourne.
Yeah.
I will say, New Zealand winning that first game of the year and then going either 2-0 or 50-50 into that US trip has done them pretty well.
They need to go 2-0 though.
Season.
This needs to be a must win for New Zealand going into that break.
But
Well,
don't forget,
not
New
really
Zealand
break, but-
wouldn't have had a game yet. Phoenix playing on Thursday. I know it's a 2-day gap, but I'll go Phoenix. Just that was not a big
There we
bias,
go.
but yeah.
There we go. Tips are done. Anything else to mention before we sign off?
No, you're gonna bring back your yes no, I reckon. That's all I say.
Huh?
You're gonna bring back your yes no towards the end.
The
Yes or
podcast
no?
would be a bit too long, I believe, if we bring that back.
No, that's thrown in the bin now, mate. That's long gone. That's in the past.
Well, that's
At
what we said.
least
The
that's
hot
what
takes,
Scott Ross
but-
said. What did Scott Ross say last week? I don't know. The clip played in the. I don't know what he said. Some along those lines. It's in the past. Who cares about the past? Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Hopefully we're back in the studio next week. Blame Aiden if we're not.
Man, jeez.
We'll see you guys next week. See ya.